idea to do Wide Prairie came up a couple of years ago when someone wrote a letter from America and to Linda and said, I like that song Seaside Woman that you did. Is there any more? And she and I just got chatting, and she said, it'd be good, you know, if people went in a record shop and said, have you got a Linda McCartney record, for there to be one. Really, I'd just say that it is Linda's record. It's the stuff she's been working on since the early 70s, right up till 1998. It's a lot of self-written. There's 13 tracks she wrote and 3 she didn't. It's a record we were working on, and unfortunately she should have been here promoting it, which was the intention, you know. But you know, when she died, I just thought, no, I've got to just do it now. I've got to mix it, I've got to carry on, and I've got to, like, promote it. Just mainly so that people know it's there. She was very supportive.
He's very bright and he has good ideas.
I would sometimes, I write bits and pieces of poetry, so I'd come back out like after. And welcome to McCartney's Wide Prairie, which is a live internet webcast that's coming at you down your little computer lines into your own little living spaces. Hello there. Welcome. We are going to today talk about Linda's new album, which is called Wide Prairie, an album I helped her put together. Very lovely album. In fact, we are unashamedly plugging the album. First thing we're going to do is look at the video that was made by Oscar Grillo of the title track, and it's coming to you right now. Here it is, the video of Wide Prairie.
I was in Paris, waiting for a flight, when this guy came up to me and said,
Have you got a light?
Well, I was born in Arizona, and when I was only 3, my mother took me to her saddle, and we rode the Wide Prairie, on the Wide Prairie, Wide Prairie.
I was in Paris, waiting for a flight, when this guy came up to me and said,
You got a light?
and you know what happened?
That was Wide Prairie. Welcome back to the live internet webcast, what we are doing. That was a video which was made by Linda and Oscar Grillo. Linda did the music, Oscar Grillo made the animation, and we've got a couple of line drawings here. Show you some of the things that the animators work from here. This is the Linda character in there. I said to Oscar, who's doing it, I said, Oscar, you've made Linda's fantasy. Linda's fantasy was always to ride horses forever and ever and ever. So here we have the character, and these are some of the original drawings that were used in making the flick. That's what they do, and if I was an animator, I could do that little trick where they flick through them quickly. But I'm not, and I can't. So here we go, flicking through them slowly. This is it. And these are some original drawings. Sequence B. And this is the character who appears. This is where she's holding up the lamp. Remember that in the middle? I do. And here we go. And so these are various little line tests that they use, and they film these, stick them on the computers, color them all up, etc., etc. And that's that. So that's a beautiful film there by Oscar and Linda, and he's actually making the light comes from within as we speak. He's just finishing up, which will be the next video that Oscar makes. So, okay, next we are going. We're going over to a little section we call the photo gallery. What we're going to do is, over the years, I took some photographs of Linda, and we put together a little section of them with a bit of music. And so here's a little selection of some of the photographs that I took of Linda. Okay, that was Love's Full Glory, and those were some photographs that I took of Linda. The song Love's Full Glory was one of the ballads off Wide Prairie, and I think it's a really good tune. I think Linda sings it beautifully. It's one of my favorite songs of hers. So there we go. Okay, the next little item we're going to have today for you on this lovely, wonderful show that we are all enjoying so much is the Grateful Dead photo film that I made. What I did was I took Linda's still photographs and made them move and made a film that brought back, I hoped anyway, some of the magic of the 60s and the Grateful Dead. And the music that's being played is a selection of their own music. But the photographs are those that Linda took in the 60s in Haight-Ashbury at the Grateful Dead's house. And the concert material, I think, was from Central Park, New York. So here you go. Let's have some fun with the Grateful Dead's photo film. Okay, now we're getting to the section of the program which is dealing with questions and answers. And seeing as this program is live, we've had a live problem. The lens on the back projection is gone, but you know what? We don't care. We're just going to press ahead. So, the first question I'm going to answer here is going to be from Martha Rose Dianese, or something like that, of Cyberspace No Address. Cyberspace is a kind of address, I suppose, isn't it? Paul, thanks for releasing Wide Prairie. I love it, and love Linda's spirit. Was Linda intentionally imitating Neil Young on The Light Comes From Within? Well, Martha, I don't think she was meaning to sound like Neil Young, but she was highly influenced by him. She loved him a lot. And there are certain bits in there, you want to build more towers, that she does have a little bit of a Neil Young twang. He certainly was one of her great favourites and one of mine too. Thank you, Martha, for your question. Next question is from Martine Bellini of Milan. Yeah, I was going to say, that sounded a little bit Italian to me. Question. Paul, I read that you said Linda was a pioneer for vegetarianism. Do you think that by going on stage with you in the 70s, that she was also a pioneer for women in rock and roll? Well, I think, Martine, I think that actually is true, because there were people like the Thompson twins who suddenly would have a girl in them. She was from New Zealand. And she actually said, in a quote, that she'd seen Linda in Wings and it had inspired her. So I think actually there were quite a few women growing up in the generation that was watching Wings, saw Linda on stage and thought, I could do that. So yeah, I think she was a kind of pioneer, a bit of a forerunner of women in groups. And let's face it, there's a lot of them about these days. And good luck to them as well, says I. Next question is from John Craig of Birmingham. That's England, not Alabama. What's your question, John? Well, did Linda ever play guitar? Well, in actual fact, the answer to that is, yeah, she did. But she didn't play it very much, or I don't think she would have said she played it very well either. However, she did know A, D, and E. And as anyone who plays guitar knows, those are chords with which you can get a nice selection of rock and roll songs going. So she did love to play it. If we were ever rehearsing and she'd pick up a guitar, one of the other guys' guitars or mine, and she'd hit an E chord, a big rock and roll E chord, bang, bang. She loved to do that. But she didn't do much of that. She was mainly keyboard. So there you go. Yeah, but she did play a little bit of guitar. Okay, next question comes in, winging in from Denmark. Denmark, good evening, morning, anytime, Denmark. Hi there. This is Arno Guzek, a fine Danish name, and he says, Dear Paul, thank you for releasing the wonderful Wide Prairie, which we've been waiting for years. Speaking of anthologies, what else in the closet? Well, besides ties, socks, shoes, and a lot of shirts, and I'm joking. Even on live television, he dares to joke, and not a very good joke at that. Anyway, speaking of anthologies, what else is in the closet? You should say that because we have a plan coming up that my daughter and her husband, Mary and Alistair, are actually working on, which is an anthology of Wings stuff, which is looking like it's going to be very exciting. They've been finding footage from all over the world and have managed to get some really good original stuff. See, what happened often was that TV stations would tape over stuff. They did it with a lot of Beatles stuff, and they did it with a lot of Wing stuff, thinking, I don't know what, thinking they'd save tape or something. It's a bit dumb if you ask me. But they did it so that what's happened is that a lot of fans would tape it off the television, and sometimes that's the only copy that exists of a certain performance. So Mary and Alistair have been getting that from all around the world, and we've really got some very exciting stuff. So it looks like a kind of anthology on Wings will be appearing sooner rather than later. They're beavering away at it as we speak. Okay, next question is from Joseph Greco of San Antonio, Texas. And wait a minute, I'm going to give him a shout. Have you fixed the lens yet?
Not yet.
No, is the answer. Well, there you go. It's live and it's coming to you down the internet, and we're rocking. Okay, this is from Joseph Greco, not El Greco, but Joseph is his son, I think, of San Antonio, Texas. He says, Sir Paul McCartney, do you plan on putting out any more concerts? And if so, would you perform any of Linda's songs? Also, did Linda ever aspire you to write any songs? If so, which ones? P.S. I feel guilty every time I eat meat. So you should, L, or Joseph. I'm going to go veggie. Good idea. It really will be a marvelous move, I think, particularly for you, Joe. So are there any plans to do any more concerts? Well, actually, not at the moment, except there is one that's getting formed, which Chrissy Hind is putting together, I think, for like about April next year, which is like a tribute to Linda, where the profits will all go to animal welfare groups. So that's looking very exciting, but that's not necessarily my concert. If I can get it together, I'll try and appear on the concert, but I'm not sure if I can do it emotionally, to tell you the truth. But we'll see. But Chrissy's got a great lineup coming of really lovely people, so that looks like it's going to be a great show. If I did, would I perform any of Linda's songs? Well, I don't know. I must tell you the truth, I've never actually thought of that, but I think it's a good idea, and I certainly would give it a try. Did Linda ever inspire you to write any songs? Yes, she did. Which ones? Maybe I'm Amazed was the very first one, and that was when we'd hooked up in the early days, in the late 60s, and I wrote that song for her. So the sentiments of that song are really just me being amazed at finding this fabulous woman. My Love was also written for Linda, and quite a few others. There's one called Dear Boy that was written, inspired by her, and She's My Baby, She Comes Out at Night was about Linda. In fact, quite a few of them were on the sly, but those are the most specific ones. All right, this is from Arlene, or Araline Murdoch of Cyberspace. No address. Cyberspace, no address. Well, it's strange if you ask me, Arlene, but never mind. Here we go. She says, is it just me? We can't even do her accent, see? What is a cyberspace accent? Is it just me, or has anyone else noticed a similarity between Linda's musical sound and that of John Lennon? Well, I must say, I'd not really thought of that, and nobody else I've heard of has mentioned that similarity, but I think we'll have to listen out for it. I think we'll have to listen to Wide Prairie and try and spot the similarity. If you can, write to Arlene, care of Cyberspace. That's Arlene Murdoch, wants to know if you can hear any similarities. I can't, but there you go. Okay, and now this is from Lynn Harvey of Chicago. Chicago, one of my dad's favorite tunes. Used to play that tune on the piano. Hi, Paul. Hi, Lynn. Do you plan to release any more singles off Wide Prairie? Yeah, we do, actually. The first single has been Wide Prairie itself. The next single, I think, is going to be The Light Comes From Within, which is the song, which is a pretty feisty song where Linda kind of gets back at her critics, really. And that is being made with a really great animated video by Oscar Grillo. And so that's in the works as we speak, and I think that's going to be released early in 1999. Early in the last year of the 20th century. Do you believe that? Anyway, yeah. And then I think there'll be White Coated Man after that, if I have anything to do with it. So there you go, Lynn. Thanks for your question. This question then is from Rich Brown. Rich Brown what, I ask myself? Of Oklahoma, USA. I was surprised that my favorite song on Wide Prairie, Endless Days, was Without Your Participation. Did Linda present the finished track to you? Yeah, actually, this was something Linda did completely on her own. She used to go off for kind of tuition sessions, and she worked on that song during one of those. So what happened was, she just came back and it was finished, and I understand from one of the guys who was in on those sessions, a guy called Mick Bolton, who's a good friend and who taught us some piano, that one day Linda just said to him, we were talking about Endless Days, she said, I think that bit in the middle needs a little bit of work on. She said, I'll go and make a cup of tea, you guys have a work on him. And so that's exactly what she did. She came back with the tea, Mick had done a little bit, a little bit in the middle. And Lynn said, it's great, sounds great. So there you go. That was Endless Days, and that was done without my participation. But it's very lovely. I think it's a really sweet track, and I love the sort of innocence of the little high bits of her voice. It's a very nice track. A bit emotional for me, that one is. Okay, Rich Brown person. Thanks for that question. Okay. Now, you know, before we were talking about, somebody asked a question. It was actually John Craig of Birmingham who asked, did Linda ever play guitar? Well, someone has just handed me a bit of evidence which will prove that she did. Here's Linda playing guitar on stage during one of the sound checks, and she is rocking away. I believe she is holding an A chord there. As I said, she knew A, D, and E. So she is rocking away there. There we have it. I believe that was in Florida in a concert on our world tour. So there she is, a rocking and a rolling. Thank you for giving me that. Lovely. Okay, here we go, and carrying on with the questions. And this next question is from Paula S. Stewart of cyberspace, another person living out there in that beautiful land that we know so well. The song Love's Full Glory, she says, is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, well, I agree. I read that you said it was Linda's response to My Love. Was it a surprise gift for a special occasion? Well, actual fact, aha, I am feeling liftoff. I am feeling air pulsating through back projectors. Let's see. What do you know? Is it ready? Yes, well, there you go. And it's coming to you live on the internet, and you've now got back projection. Well, I just hope it's worth the wait. Here we go. She says, was it Linda's response to My Love? Yeah, it was. But it wasn't a surprise gift for a special occasion. Actually, it wasn't me said that. Somebody else suggested that. But I think it is true that after I'd written My Love, I think Linda liked the idea of doing a love song, and so she came up with that one, which I think is a beautiful melody. And I think for people who used to make fun of her and say, she only plays piano with one finger, which is absolutely wrong, because she wasn't playing pianos. That was a mini moog, which you can only play with one finger. So that shows how stupid those people were. But it goes to prove that people like that who thought she didn't have any musical talent were wrong, because I defy anyone out there to write a much better melody than that one. It's a real cracking melody. So thank you, Paula S. Stewart, for liking it. And it wasn't a surprise gift for a special occasion. It was just a general thing. Okay, now, armed with our rear projection, which we have, this is beginning to look like a real show. And I'm getting rather excited. I hope you are too. Okay, now we go over to Ohio, Findlay, Ohio, and the question is from Ben Okulu. No, wait a minute. Ben Okuli. Is that how you say it, Ben? Ben Okuli. And he says, hi, Paul. I'm really enjoyed the Wide Prairie album. I really enjoyed the Wide Prairie album. Are there any more of Linda's songs that have not been released, or any that she wrote but did not record? Yeah, actually there is one, and I think one only, which was because on this album we wanted to do all the stuff she'd done over the years, so there are 16 cuts there that she'd put together over the years. But there was one song that she was working on that I still remember the tune to, and I keep swearing to myself that I'm going to go to a tape recorder and record it quickly before I forget it. But it was a nice little song. So there is only one. I can't give you any details of it because I can't hardly remember it. But I will remember it, and I will stick it down on some tape, and hopefully maybe one of these days do a recording of it. She'd like that. All right, now, this question is from Carol Cleveland of Cornell University, a famous university over there in America, which even I have heard of. Okay, Cornell, Carol, and everybody else who's listening on the internet there. She says, Carol says, I got up and the light comes from within, are both full of righteous anger. True. Were these written as a response to one incident or to a long string of slights? Well, now, that's a good question. Well, we'd only expect good questions, I suppose, from Cornell University, but that is a good question. Not that the others weren't, but this is particularly good because it exactly right that the songs, both those songs, are full of anger, and it's a tongue-in-cheek anger, because Linda was not about to really get too upset about those kind of things. But yeah, they were in response to, I think, a long string of slights, as you put it. I think in the early days, when we first got together, a lot of people were kind of jealous that I'd married Linda. A lot of people thought I might marry them, you know. Seeing as I didn't even know them or never met them, it was a fairly slight hope there. But anyway, yeah, so we got a lot of trouble from that kind of thing. Linda got a bit of trouble off those kind of people. I think mainly, though, it would be the critics, because a lot of people were upset when she joined Wings. A lot of people thought I should have got a group full of stars and shouldn't have had, as somebody put it, my old lady up on the stage with me. As far as I was concerned, it was up to me and her whether we worked together, and nobody else's business, really. In doing so, we had a lot of fun, and I think we did a lot of good music. But there were many critics who would pick on Linda. And yeah, these songs, I Got Up and The Light Comes From Within, were definitely her response to either one incident or more likely a whole string of them. So that's a good question there, Carol, and I hope you enjoyed the tracks. Thanks a lot. Got a question here. This is from Arlene Leal Maja of Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's probably Leal Maja or something like that. And just before we do that, I'm going to get my cup of tea. Yeah, John, goes that cup of John. John Hamill, thank you very much. What a wonderful hand. How does he do it? Okay, I got my cup of tea. I'm Rocky. I'm ready to go. So Arlene from Sao Paulo, Brazil says, do you have any plans to reissue dance mixes of Seaside Woman and B-side to Seaside? Well, the simple answer to that, Arlene, is no, we don't. But your question may prompt us to think of doing some dance mixes of Seaside Woman and B-side to Seaside. And you know what? If we ever do, it will have been your idea. So thanks for that question, Arlene of Brazil. Okay, Kenneth Graff of Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, Kenny, baby. Kenny G, in fact. If we want to get round to that. Kenny Graff of Nashville. We don't want to get round to Kenny G, but we love Kenny G. And we're hearing this, we've got some detractors here. Kenny G non-fans in the audience. All right, but Kenny Graff, not to be confused with the other Kenny G, of Nashville, Tennessee, says, has any thought been given to releasing Love's Full Glory as a single on the Capitol Nashville label, seeing as it's much more country than some of the garbage fellow EMI Garth Brooks has been doing? Steady on, Kenneth. Now, old Garth isn't going to like that, is he? And you never know, he might be on his little e-net, his internet, or his intermail, or whatever it is, showing what a great expert I am in this field. Hey, look, I've got a music program. I don't do the internet. I just do music, okay? Now, anyway, to get back to the question, I don't think any thought has been given to releasing it as a single on the Nashville label. But you know what? I think that's actually not a bad idea. Not for the reason you give, of course, because me and Garth are like that. Both got something wrong with our fingers. Okay. The next question is from Germany. Deutschland. Ah, here we go. This is from Ute, or Ut, U-T-E spelled. And the question is, I love that photo of Linda on the cover of Wide Prairie. Did you choose it? Yeah, I did, actually, in conjunction with the people who were doing the artwork, which was basically our Norm and a couple of other people. I did like that photograph because I thought it was kind of sort of iconic. I thought it would be a nice one for the cover. I'd always liked that photograph. And, oh, here we have, it has been thrown in live here, this photograph. Iconic, slightly angelic, very lovely photograph. And by the way, I think that Norman did do a fantastic job putting this package together. It's a really lovely package. And for any of you who haven't got it, I must point out that there's a lovely little poster in there, which even smells good. I always smell paper. Sorry about that. One of my little habits. Maybe there are people out there who also smell paper. In which case, we've got a little link going, haven't we? The Smell Paper Club. Here we go. That is the photograph. Yeah, I did choose it, and I love it. I think it's really nice, and it's one of my favorites of Linda's. Dankeschön, Ute, aus Deutschland. Ben Adams of Sydney, Australia. Hello, Ben. Watch your sport. Dear Paul, some years ago, I read that you and Linda had discovered a lot. He's suddenly gone Scottish, you see. I'm fed up with that doing the Australian accent. Has discovered a lot of her unpublished photographs of the Beatles, and that you were thinking of making a photo film of them. What is a photo film, and will it go on general release? Okay, yeah. What a photo film is it's a kind of phrase I coined for a process where I actually did one on the Grateful Dead. What it was I was looking through Linda's photographs of the Grateful Dead, and I realized, looking at the contact sheet, that a lot of the shots were kind of similar. If she was looking for a portrait, as I think she was in this case, of one of the members of the group, she might take a few just to have a choice. And if you looked at them quickly, it kind of looked like a film. So I got the idea to run them quickly through a camera and see if we could kind of make film out of these stills. So that is called the Grateful Dead photo film. The second one in that kind of series is one at the moment, actually here, not right now of course, but in this studio, and they're not all unpublished photographs of the Beatles, but a lot of them haven't been published. Some of them have been, but it's basically all the photos Linda took of the Beatles, and some of them are fantastic. And I'm hoping to do a Beatles photo film utilizing all, or if not most of them. But that is a long project, and I am, I don't know, not even a third of the way through it yet. So that will take some time. And yeah, hopefully it'll go on general release once I've finished it. We'll have to see. Number one, if it's any good. Number two, if anyone wants to show it out there. And here we go to a question from Dumfries. But this Dumfries, strangely enough, is not in Scotland. It's one of those transplanted Dumfrieses. And this one is not in Australia. It's in Canada, where there's a lot of Scottish-sounding places. And this one is Dumfries, Vancouver in Canada. And the question is from Nancy Moser. She says, hello, Paul, one quick question. Have you ever painted Linda's portrait? Yeah, I have, actually. And actually, I've got an art book knocking around somewhere where I might be able to show you one, which we'll see if we can find. We'll find that in a minute. Okay, have I ever painted Linda's portrait? Yes, I have. And in fact, I did a lot of portraits for Linda. She was my favourite model. And she was one of the people who was around most of the time. She was one of the people who would let me paint her portrait. And who would have the patience to sit. So yeah, I did one or two. Have we got that picture? Let me see. Thank you. That's Jeffrey. Bringing them in. Yeah, here's a couple of little portraits here. Linda guitar and Linda with apple. I did do a lot of them. Don't know if you can see those two. This one, Linda with guitar, was done one evening, and this also was done one evening. So those are a couple of pictures. I reckon that in my pictures of Linda, I always managed to get something of her, but never managed to get a real total likeness. So that's why I did lots. Always trying to capture that little essence. I think, I'm not sure if I ever really caught it, but I always caught something. So I suppose if you looked at them all together, you'd have everything. Okay, from Canada, we go to Carrie Grosvenor. And she's in Quebec, in Canada. So she says, let me say, what a thrill it is to know that you're doing this online webcast. Well, you know, it's a bit of a thrill for us too. We're having a laugh here. It's a wonderful Christmas present for all of us. My question, for those of us who've recently gone veggie, what are some good alternatives for the usual Christmas turkey? Okay, well, what you've got to do, that's a difficult one. What you've got to do is make the meal as if you were having the turkey. So in other words, all the rest of it is exactly the same. As Linda used to say to people, when you go veggie, you're only giving up one thing out of your diet. So think of it that way rather than like, oh my God. So think of that one thing and you can replace it. Well, for one, there are lots of good products in the stores that address that very problem. So you'll find that there are places where you can buy actually sort of veggie roasts and things like that, which is good. When Linda and I first had the problem, which would be over 20 years ago now, when we first went veggie and wanted to do what you want to do, is have a vaguely traditional Christmas. What we did was we cooked, well, Linda cooked, a really good macaroni cheese. Now, if you cook that kind of thick, and what you do is you leave it, like let's say for a day or two, then it thickens up a bit, and you can slice that little thing. So that we found that was quite a good alternative, slices of macaroni cheese. So that's one way to go. There are some recipes. I've got someone here. Let me see what you got. He's got Linda's new book. What a good team we've got here, swinging into action on the internet, hey? Okay, this new book is Linda McCartney on Tour, and it's a dead groovy book. And here we go. On page 113, he said, without his specs, he came to the festive loaf. And this is, as I say, on page 113 of Linda's new book, which is available. So let's hope that will be able to solve your problems. And this is great. If you can make this or get someone to make this, you solve all your problems in one go. So there you go. Thanks for doing that question, Carrie, because it's allowed me to do a little plug for On Tour, Linda McCartney. New cookbook. Great recipes from all around the world. Hey, do you think I could get a job on one of those shopping channels? I'm beginning to think I could. I'm getting the feel of this. And you've all got to ring in and you've got to say,
"Oh, it's really great. I bought one for my sister, and she loves it. Oh, I hope I'm getting 3 more."
Okay. Thank you, Carrie, for your good question. They're all good questions. We're having a laugh. Greetings from Mexico. Unnamed. Aha. We have a desperado on the run. What are you running from? Greetings from Mexico. All right, we don't care. We will deal with desperados. They're all the same to us on the internet. All right. Greetings from Mexico. Your question. With all your fame and popularity, how did you manage to have such a good marriage? Well, you know what? There's only one answer to that, which is that we loved each other. Very simple answer to that one. Greetings from Mexico. And keep on running, greetings. Here we go. This is from Deirdre, and Deirdre is from Mexico City. So there we go, from Mexico generally. Someone on the run, we have Deirdre from Mexico City. Again, a little bit more specific, but Deirdre could in actual fact be on the run with greetings. Don't know. It's the kind of things you find out on the internet. Deirdre says, "Hi Paul, do you think you'll ever go on tour again?" Yeah, I think I might. I think I might. I like touring. Normally what happens is I just kind of wait till the urge grabs me, and that happens every few years really. And then people say, it's 10 years since he toured. But I'm not counting. But yeah, I think one of these days I may go on tour again. And now we come to the last question in this Q&A section, and it is from Arlene Murdoch. And Arlene, like a lot of our friends today, is from cyberspace. So hello, Arlene, and all your little friends up there. Her question is, did Linda teach you to cook? Well, in actual fact, yeah, she did. And I could cook a little bit before we met. In Liverpool, I used to do a little bit of cooking. But the thing was, Linda was such a good cook that even though she taught me a little bit how to cook, she was always so much better than me that I didn't learn that much. But in actual fact, in this show, I will be doing a little bit of cooking later in the show, where I'm actually going to attempt to do a recipe live on the internet. Well, how's about that then? So, before we do that though, we are going to now go to another little thingy, which is going to be the video of Seaside Woman. We're going to show that. This track, Seaside Woman, was one of the first ones that Linda wrote herself. And it was really inspired by our love of the Caribbean and Jamaica, in particular, where we went for quite a few holidays. The man that we see behind here is Lee Scratch Perry, and even though Lee is Jamaican, he didn't actually produce these tracks. Seaside Woman is a track that Linda had a guy called Oscar Grillo make an animated film of, and it won a Palme d'Or, which is a big prize. at the Cannes Film Festival. So the track is off Wide Prairie. It's called Seaside Woman. Here is the video that won the prize, Seaside Woman. Okay, that was Seaside Woman, and that film by Oscar Grillo and Linda won a Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. All right, now we're going to get into a little section which is going to deal with animals, and I think as a lot of you know out there, Linda and I and our family have been strong supporters of animal rights through the years, going veggie, helping with various animal welfare groups. And one of the songs on the album deals with that matter in as much as the song is called White Coated Man, which is about animal experiments. The lyric is by a friend of ours, Carla Lane, and the music is by me and Linda. The video is shot from the point of view of a rabbit that is going to get experimented on. And I think it's just best if we leave you to make your own mind up. Here it is, the video of White Coated Man.
of the morning light. What is this feeling? Why can't I move?
Sometime today they'll set me free. I'll hear a voice and it will be my friend, the white-coated man.
Where is the wind? Where are the leaves? What happened? Why this pain?
Sometime today they'll set me free. I'll hear a voice and it will be my friend, the white-coated man. If man wants life and eternity, then man must pay and man must see that we are theirs to mine. For man is the voice, man is the law. If man gets sick, he'll find a cure. Our friend, the white-coated man.
In the distance, people are laughing. Do they know about me? Why can't I see?
And they will pay the silent ones. And they will pay, the silent ones will pay. The silent ones will pay. The silent ones will pay. The silent ones will pay.
Okay, that was White-Coated Man. That was the new video by Lindy Heyman, and that is a pretty hard-hitting video, but it has to be because the subject matter of the song is vivisection, or rather anti-vivisection. I think a lot of you know out there that Linda and I have for years been campaigning for animal rights. There are some terrible things that us humans do in the name of civilization, and we so badly treat so many of these animals that, you know, it really is time at the end of this century for us to start doing something about it and to show a little bit of respect, because, you know, after all, we share this whole planet with them, and nobody gave us the God-given right to kind of go killing them just because they move. Okay, so, however, we'll get off that subject just for now, and we're going to now go to a section which is a cookery section. I'm going to try and cook something. I say try because I'm not the world's greatest cook, but I'm going to attempt to cook something that was a recipe that I gave Linda for her cookbook, her new book, On Tour, and this is my recipe for mashed potatoes. So come with me now and we will try to cook some mashed potato. All right. Here we go. To the kitchen. Okay, here we go. Our little mock-up kitchen area. Here we go. Right, well now this is a first. Never done this before, but how exciting is this on the internet? Okay, this is going to be a recipe for mashed potatoes. What I've been doing for many years and what is in Linda's cookbook, On Tour. There you go. Right, so basically, you know how to peel a potato. You don't use a big knife like that. You use a potato peeler. I use a silly little knife like this. So let's say you're going to peel your spuds, and you're going to peel a whole panful like that. And all these cookery programs, as you know, they always say, here's one I prepared earlier. So I'll get rid of that little bit there, and these. And this will, when it's peeled, in fact, let's peel it. Let's do the real thing. We'll peel this, and then this can go in with these others, what we have prepared earlier. So you do something like this. You cut the work in half. Here we go. You cut it something like that, that kind of size, roughly like that, that kind of thing. And you sling them in some boiling water for about 20 minutes. Now, there they are. We've got these on already. You stick a bit of salt in. This is nice organic sea salt. You just have a nice big fistful of that. You sprinkle that in. And those will take about 20 minutes. Now the thing is, there's some people out there who are brilliant cooks, so of course I'm highly embarrassed to be telling you how to do this. So you can just have a laugh, just sit back and have a laugh. The rest of you who don't know how to cook, like me, will be highly educated by this procedure. Okay, here we go. Here, while we're doing this, 20 minutes, what you do now is you can prepare the onion, which is like a little special touch. Not everybody has onion in mashed potatoes, but this is my little special touch. So here we go. I'm going to just cut round here on the onion, and hopefully this is going to then, this is not how you're supposed to do it probably, but you just pull the outside layer off here, sling the bits. Now, to do this, I'm sure there's a very professional way to do this, but I don't know it. So basically, I'll do this like as if I was doing this for myself, which, seeing as there's probably no one watching this program, I am. Okay. So you get your onion, you try and get it looking vaguely respectable by taking some of these outer layers off. You've got it like this, it's looking pretty good now. Let's cut that little toppy bit off. Oh, and a funny little bit's appeared in the middle of it. Well, okay, this is only a demonstration, all right? So we're not worried about that. Right, now here's the little trick. This is the trick, which Linda taught me. It's a brilliant trick, and it goes something like this. You take your onion, and then you cut lines across it like that, see? Straight across it like that, trying not to cut your finger off. All these chefs go a little bit faster than I do. This is the slow method. You cut that way once, diddle-a-da, then you turn it around and you cut the other way now. So now you've got little squares, little grid system going on the top of this little onion. And the nearer you put these lines, of course, it's going to be the finer the onion. Then what you do, this is the trick, you turn it on here and you just do that, and look at that, you've got chopped onion. It's all coming away like a miracle. There you go. So there's your chopped onion, and that's the little trick. Chopping onions. Bet you've never seen that before. Okay, here we go. So that we'll leave there just for the minute. Put that down. Get me wee cloth and wipe me handies. And here we go. This is getting to be like a series, isn't it, viewers? We could have been doing this for years, really. Okay. Right, so now the potatoes, you leave the onions here. They're coming later. Potatoes now have been boiling. Well, let's say they've been boiling for 20 minutes. We now take them off. We bring them over here, and you know what? Just in case it's a little bit hot, we will get the old glovey on. Fetching little oven glove there. Hello, how you doing? What do you think of the recipe? That's very good. Oh, now stop. Oh, stop it, glovey. All right. Okay, right, here we go. And what you do is you just drain off the excess water into a bowl, or more likely a sink. So here we go, and we're draining off the water, making sure you do this very carefully, because if it all falls, you get scalded, which isn't wonderful. I should know. Okay, so that's that. And now we got these guys. Now these could probably go back on the heat a little bit there, just to dry them off a bit. And I'll get rid of that fella by sticking him there. Okay, so now, the next bit now that's dried off a bit, we're ready to go. Bring this back to the center stage, and we get our potato masher, one of these things. And now we just go for it, and we mash the spuds. Let's give them a good hard mash here. Got a lot here, so take a few minutes normally, but I'll just give them, I better not do them too roughly because it won't look so good and it won't taste so good. But this is what you do. You mash all these spuds up like this and get them so there's no lumps, nice and fluffy. Lovely. That little professional touch there. Right, here we go. Then we take some margarine and non-hydrogenated. That's the trick. It's not good for you, hydrogenated, apparently. And then you take a little bit of this stuff, and you just stick a little knob of that butter in there. And it just depends how naughty you want to be, really, because it tastes better the more you have. But so we'll stick a few knobs of butter in there. How about that many? That looks good to me. You let that melt, which it does because the potatoes are hot. And then, if you like, you can put a little bit of milk in. And this is just semi-skimmed milk. You can use any milk you like. Or you can use soy milk. That's very good as well. And then, so even though we put some salt in before, now you put some more salt in. And this is just to taste, really, this bit. So I like them reasonably salty. And you'd be surprised how much salt you can put in, but watch it, because once you put too much in, you've had it. Right, so then you start whisking this up a bit. And it's sort of dryish. They're looking good though, starting to look good now. And now I'm going to do is put these onions in. Last little thing. And I'm going to put a little bit more milk in. But those onions, the finer you chop them, the better probably. I'm sure you can do it a bit better than me. A little bit more milk, because they're looking a little dry. And then off we go, whisking again. And we're going to taste it. Very good. Give it a bit more of this one. Because, no laughing please. This is a serious cooking program. Oh yeah, it tastes good actually. Okay, here we go. Having tasted it like all the good chefs, having got it well fluffy, and doing my little professional knockoff thing there, I'm going to sling a little bit more salt in. Just a little bit more flavour. And this sea salt is brilliant stuff. Really cool. I'm going to then give that another bit of, what do you call it, whisking. And I don't bother with a professional whisk. A fork is good enough for me. Right. So off we go. And that basically is your mashed potato. That's tasting very good. Now, if you want to get a little bit flash when you serve it up, you can, what can we do? Anyone got a spoon there? Give us that spoon. Thank you very much, spoon man. What you can do then, take it out, nice and big and fluffy. Stick it in your dish. And there you go. It's starting to look good. It's smelling good. And I'm not going to let the crew eat it, you know, like they normally do at the end of the show. Let the crew eat it. I'm not. I'm taking it home. I'm having all of that. Not really, but here we go. And then you can just finish it off. You just want to look extra professional here, which I must say I don't normally do. You could just put a little sprinkling of parsley, chopped parsley, on the top. You just put that there. And that is the creation known as mashed potato. There you go. I can hear your applause from here. Thank you very much. Oh, I can hear it. I can hear it. Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's get on with the show. Let's go and do a bit more. There you go. I did it. I cooked the fabled mashed potato. Okay, now, are you enjoying yourselves? I hope you are. Pretty good. I'm enjoying it myself. Very interesting getting into all those little kitchens and bedrooms of yours. Okay, at this point, I'm going to do a bit more unashamed plugging. I'm going to tell you about the songbook that comes, which is the Wide Prairie songbook. All the songs off the album are in it. There's some lovely photographs. There it is. You can see it now. And there's that, say, lovely pickies in it and stuff. And for those of you that are budding musicians, you get the words and some photos, and you get the music. Don't show it to me, mate. I can't read that stuff. Anyway, here we go. Wide Prairie, that's the songbook. We're going to tell you in a minute. Some people have said to me, well, how do I get this stuff? You know, is it available here? Is it available there? What we're doing, seeing this is the internet. We're treating it like a shopping channel. And there is, all you have to do is you press the Linda button on the bottom of the page. And that'll give you information as to where to get all this stuff. So you've got no excuse. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is the On Tour cookbook, which is the new cookbook of Linda's, which we've been chatting about. And this has got recipes from all over the world. Look at that. Italy, Caribbean, Spain, Belgium, Thailand, France. It's a lovely book. Some beautiful photographs, and this was put together by Linda with the help of our lovely daughter, Mary. Okay, you guys, and then the other thing that, again, if you press on the Linda button at the bottom of the page, you also can find out details as to where to get the album. Now, the thing about this is what I'm going to do with these ones that are sold through the internet is I'm going to sign a few of them. Not all of them. I am going to actually sign a few. So I'll just stick my signature on those. And if you're lucky enough, then you might get one of these signed copies. And if you're not, well, you've still got a fine album. Right? Here we go. I'm just going to sign a few of these. I'll do a couple more later. And these will go out. And that's the idea. How you get them is you just press the Linda button on the bottom of the page. Okay, so that's it. The songbook, the cookbook, or the album. Hey, you can get it by just pressing a little button. No excuse whatsoever. All right, so now we go into the next section of our little live internet webcast. And the section that we're going to go to now is Maybe I'm Amazed. We're going to show the video that's taken with photographs of Linda, and Linda put this film together herself, and she chose us the soundtrack, my song, written for her, Maybe I'm Amazed. Okay, that was Maybe I'm Amazed, and that was nice. All right, well, this is time to literally sign off. He said, signing one of the CDs that will be there if you press that little button. And I'm signing off now. I'm just going to thank you for plugging in, or whatever you call it, going online with us today. You can see what an expert I am on the internet. Thanks for being with us anyway. It's been a great pleasure talking to you through the medium of this webcast. It's been good fun plugging the album Wide Prairie. I hope you're interested in it. I hope you tell your friends about it. This is a rocking album. A lot of fun putting it together. I want to wish everybody there all the very best for the happy holiday season. Have a good one, be nice to each other, and also have a really good, peaceful year, because dig it is the last one of the 20th century. So we better enjoy this one. So, lots of love to you all. Thanks very much for taking part in this. It's been a lot of fun. So from the McCartney Wide Prairie Live webcast, this is me, Paul, signing off to you. See ya.
I was in Paris, waiting for a flight, when this guy came up to me and said,
You got a light?
and you know what happened?